Well, fellas, we are inching closer and closer to the start of the NFL season. And you know what that means? It's fantasy football time. Today, we're drafting from the 8th overall pick. I've already drafted from 1 all the way to pick 7. This is pick 8. And if you're the 8th overall pick in fantasy football, I'm selecting Christian McCaffrey. He is the best upside, I believe, in the first round. I mean, look at the running backs around him. Ashton Genty, who has not taken a single snap in the NFL so far. I understand what he did in college. But if you can get CMC, who I have a big money league draft tonight, and I have the 4th overall pick, and I'm still deciding between him and CeeDee Lamb. I believe CMC can easily be the RB1. I'm definitely taking him over Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe that's a hot take this season. I think the only running back I would take above CMC is Bijan Robinson, because I think he could be CMC reincarnated. So if you don't know me, I'm Cam. I'm from All Talk Sports. We do a lot of podcasts about fantasy football and the NBA. So if you like that style of content, hit the follow, subscribe for more. We're on YouTube, baby. In the second round, if you take a running back in the first round, I highly suggest you guys take a receiver in the second round. Now, I'm between Brian Thomas and Drake London. Drake London obviously was peppered with targets with Michael Penix coming into this offense. Brian Thomas obviously was a top 10 receiver last season, and I top 5. Like, this dude just broke fantasy football. I think Drake London's a little bit of a safer pick because of the target share and Travis Hunter coming into that offense. Now, I wouldn't complicate it and over stress that. Like, if you are a Brian Thomas shareholder, I wouldn't stress that too much. But in my opinion, if you're sitting there with the 8th overall pick and you already have, if you don't take Christian McCaffrey, it's whatever. I would. If you have the 8th overall pick and Christian McCaffrey is sitting there, please take him. Just steal the draft. You take maybe some more safer picks with Drake London and another guy like James Cook, who I was targeting in the later rounds as I was, preparing for this mock draft. James Cook, obviously heavy touchdowns last season. I think he had 16 touchdowns last season, and that'd be very hard to duplicate and replicate. So let's say we don't take James Cook, okay, and we decide to go maybe the Marvin Harrison, a Breece Hall, Jalen Hurts. Those kind of guys are available. Another guy is I've been drafting a lot, is Omarion Hampton, and we already had a running back 1, obviously, Christian McCaffrey. Omarion Hampton, James Cook, Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara. Those are all guys I'd be considering right now. I'm not loving the receivers. I'm not loving Garrett Wilson. I'm not loving Marvin Harrison. The reason is the quarterback play. So if I'm here and I'm sitting at this 3rd round selection, knowing that I'm going to get an elite player again at this turn, I think I'm going to go with Omarion Hampton. I think Omarion Hampton's got crazy upside. I think his floor is pretty safe as well, especially in a Harbaugh offense where they're going to just run the football. And there goes pretty much everybody that we talked about. But there's still a guy available who I absolutely love. Now, Joe Burrow is available. We don't have a quarterback, and we obviously don't have a tight end. Our roster looking like CMC, Hampton, and Drake London. So you have Kittle available, who's probably going to be a top 5 tight end in fantasy football this season. He was the number 1 overall tight end last season. The 49ers pass catchers are absolutely abysmal this season, and that's abysmal at best. Ricky Pearsall is hurt. Brandon Ayuk is hurt. Jawan Jennings is looking for a contract extension and is hurt. They just traded for Sky Moore because they have absolutely no offensive weapons. I don't want to double up on the 49ers in case they absolutely shit the bed, so I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker. I really like Kenneth Walker. I know I've been talking about Ken Walker and Omarion Hampton and a lot on these podcasts, and I've been loving Ken Walker, especially on Dabble Fantasy. If you don't know what Dabble Fantasy is, guys, it's the best DFS app on the market right now. You pick more or less on your favorite players. They have NFL futures, they have UFC, MLB, NBA, WNBA, really everything you guys need. Dabble Fantasy has it right now. When you just go to All Talk Sports, you get a free $10. So make sure to check out Dabble Fantasy today. So yeah, with our 4th overall selection, if Ken Walker is here, I know we're going super running back heavy, but I don't think there are a lot of great running backs on these later rounds. Like, I would genuinely take Ken. I was thinking about taking Ken Walker in the 3rd round. I take Ken Walker over Chuba. I take him over Kamara. I take him over Hall. But I think grabbing Charbonnet is probably a must-need in this situation. But I feel really great about this team. Christian McCaffrey, Omarion Hampton, Drake London, Ken Walker. Let me know down below what you guys would do differently. I'm going to check out every single comment and hit the subscribe button when I'm down there on the road to 20K. DJ Moore, who I was honestly thinking about taking in the 4th round as well. I mean, he's the number 1 overall receiver on his team. Obviously has some competitions there with Roma Dunze and Luther Burden, but the guy who just had like 130, 140 targets last season for the Chicago Bears just left, and now he's on the Chargers. And that's why I would stay away from Matt McConkey, but we're not talking about Matt McConkey. We're talking about DJ Moore. Another guy is George Pickens, who I definitely think could have a breakout season with Dak Prescott and with CeeDee Lamb next to him. I think it opens him up. Ted McMillan is dealing with a hamstring issue, absent from practice, obviously, and we know it was a hamstring issue. We don't know the severity of it, but I mean, 6'5", 212, wide receiver 1-4, Bryce Young. Another guy that's around here is T.J. Hawkinson. He's going to be a solid tight end. I agree with. We don't have a tight end, obviously, but I think we're going to go with the depth here. And Isaiah Pacheco is also here, but if we already have 3 running backs. I'm not taking another running back. I think we're going to lean towards George Pickens here. I would make the argument for DJ Moore because he's the wide receiver 1 in his offense. But George Pickens, I think he could have more targets than DJ Moore, even as the wide receiver 2. Just that Dallas Cowboy passing game is going to be insane. Now, Ted McMillan falls again, and us being kind of thinner on the wide receiver side of the ball. Now, Ted McMillan, Travis Hunter, Jalen Waddle, Calvin Ridley. Out of these guys, I love Ted. I love Jalen Waddle, and I've had a lot of mixed opinions about him, is because Tyreek Hill is obviously there. That offense is dysfunctional, but I've heard that he's had the best rapport with Tua coming out of camp. So I'm big on him, and I'm obviously big on Calvin Ridley. I think he's kind of everybody's sleeper, that he's not really a sleeper anymore. So I'm going to go Ted McMillan, mix it up a little bit. So far through 6 rounds, we have McCaffrey, Hampton, London, Pickens, Ken Walker. So looking for our quarterback. Now with Pickens, I'm thinking we could wait for rounds like 9 or 10 to select Dak Prescott, kind of get that stack. But yeah, no, I really like this running back core we have of Hampton, McCaffrey, and Ken Walker, and then Drake London, George Pickens, and Ted McMillan. This is probably one of my favorite drafts. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, those 6 picks, man, those could win your league. So now that we're a little risky, we're a little bit on the riskier side, obviously, with McCaffrey, even London having a new quarterback, but I mean, he was peppered with targets. Another rookie running back, Ken Walker, who is a injury-prone running back, a new situation, and a rookie. So we're a little bit on the riskier side, but you know what? Balls to the wall, baby. Scare money, don't make money. We're going to take a player who's not risky at all. It's Jacoby Myers. He's week in and week out, like one of the most consistent fantasy players there is, especially if in our receiver core, like in our flex position, if we need him, he could definitely step up and be the man. And with our next pick, it's going to be David Njoku. I am all in on David Njoku this season. I think he's going to be a top 5 tight end. I think he could be a top 3 tight end, especially if Joe Flacco is their quarterback every single week. And you know, honestly, even if Shedeur steps up or Dylan Gabriel, or really, I don't care. He's like the security blanket. He's the safety net for every Cleveland Browns quarterback. Wow, it is early in the morning, fellas. But yeah, I'm gonna make these next 2 selections, and then I'm probably gonna just make off camera 11 through 14, so I don't bore you. And then I'll go over my picks. Like now, we're gonna start and go into. Obviously, we need a quarterback. I don't know if Dak. Okay, so Dak's still available. Have him queued up already. We need a quarterback. Don't need a tight end. We need just some bench players, and we're gonna try to hit some running backs. Okay, so Emeka Buka, I was gonna try to target. Jordan Mason, I was gonna try to target. Emeka Buka, dude, he's been an absolute stud in camp. Jordan Mason, I think he could split 50-50 with Aaron Jones. So now that we're here, let's lock up. Where is he? Let's lock up Dak Prescott. I know it's a little bit of a reach, but I do not want him to be sniped from me. That's like the worst feeling. Like I say, Justin Herbert went after him. I'd rather have Dak, especially with this stack. And I think Dak could throw for like 5,000 yards this season. We're not going to be dropping in defense, by the way. So with our last pick, let's take a guy. I saw his name. Where is he? There he is. Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins, I think he could easily be the wide receiver 2, like lead the Texans besides Neil Collins in targets. I just think that offense is going to be kind of dysfunctional enough where they need to be throwing the ball. So there's my 10 picks. I'm going to make these last 4 off camera, and I will see y'all. This is probably the best team that I've ever drafted. Out of the 8th overall slot, you guys need, if you can replicate this, like you might as well just, leave a comment. Thanks for helping me win my championship, because I absolutely cooked. We got CMC, Drake London, Omarion Hampton, Ken Walker, Pickens, McMillan, Myers, Njoku, Dak Prescott, Jaden Higgins. Then the 4 guys I took off camera. Ramondre Stevenson, who I think could have a David Montgomery type of role in this New England Patriots offense. Just lost 15 pounds this offseason on a better offense. I know they have Trayvon Henderson, but in the 11th round, come on. Trey Benson, who I've heard a lot of great things about out of the Arizona camp. Luther Burden, who, could somehow be a sneaky play, maybe in Chicago. And then Keenan Allen, who had 140 targets last season. How is he your 14th round pick? I don't even care that Ladd McConkey's there. So on paper, let's look at the actual roster. Let me move my face. So Dak, CMC, you guys can see it. You guys can read. So there's the actual roster. There's the bench. I mean, the bench is pretty solid. I'm not going to lie. I definitely have some plug-and-play guys. I know I didn't draft a kicker in the defense. I never do. I just pick them up off the waiver wire, maybe move some IR spots. But yeah, that's how you drafted the 8th overall pick. Let me know down below what you guys want to see next. I'm going to do 9, 10, 11, 12. And shout out Aiden. We couldn't record today, so I had to step up. But shout out Aiden and subscribe for more. Peace.